George Boyd. I did a search, George Boyd, you know. But as soon as the librarians found out that I live in Montreal now, there's 20 volumes of that. You know, there are, geez, you can't, you know, there's Wade in the Water, Consecrated Ground, you know, everything's there now. As soon as they find out you're from Montreal, whoa!
Yeah, they just do it that way here. Like, I'm originally from British Columbia, and
you noticed it too?
Oh, I noticed but I also know it's a thing. Somebody told me that all the writers in Montreal are in the new big library.
Yeah.
All of them. And
what's that one?
Like home bibliothèque?
Wait,
yeah,
bibliothèque.
Yeah, all of them, and that's a policy. They do that.
Well, I don't. Well.
No, but this is city. It was no. I just found it in my St. Charles. But they were saying it's only Outremont, so I had to drive there because it will be a couple of days, so not so many. So that's.
No, but she's right though, because as soon as I moved here, I noticed, like, I was in the bibliothèque, boom, every book, every play I wrote.
I think I'm not telling the truth. I think. Like,
oh, now she says.
No, the policy is for every book that's published in Quebec to be in the library. So that you're there, they found. I mean, they discovered you.
No, but my publishers are Vancouver.
I was wrong.
In Vancouver.
Look, my publishers are Vancouver.
Yeah. So, well, it doesn't mean they only have books that are published in.
Okay.
No, it's just that I said it wrong because that's not true. That every writer that
I think it's citizenship myself. To be honest with you.
No, it's publishers.
Publishers
in Canada is obliged to put a copy of everything that publisher publishes in both the National Library in Ottawa and the Bibliothèque Nationale ici au Québec. And as for the local thing, I think it's, I suspect that the local libraries have a fund for residents.
Yeah, residents.
Because they're keen to have, local libraries are keen to have local residents. The Ukraine Library has authors who live in, not only, of course, but they want to make sure that they have authors from in their library. But the other one is the publisher. So your books will be in the National Library.
Yeah, but you mean to tell me anything published in Canada has to go to Bibliothèque Nationale?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Anything published in Canada has to go to the National Library in Ottawa.
That's your IBN number or whatever.
ISBN.
Yeah, ISBN number.
And it's the publisher that must send a copy legally, otherwise they get fined.
And to Washington DC.
Well, not Canadian. And Québécois publishers must do the same, actually, both to the National Library in Ottawa and the Bibliothèque Nationale.
Okay. They got to do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll open up
straightening that out.
To wrap up this part before we move to 2 points. One, mentioning your other books. The last time Mr. Boyd and I had the privilege of a dialogic session with you, sir, we did Gideon's Blues. And I can tell you that some of my former students have now put Gideon Blues at the top of their favorite books. So after this session, I encourage you to look into Gideon's Blues. It was a powerful read. And getting back to your point,
Told you we should be my agent. Go ahead.
Getting back to Palestine and land and what it means, no less a political scientist than Dr. Madeleine Albright, who was, of course, Secretary of State under the Clinton administration, herself not particularly religious by her own admission, says that there is no way to solve the situation in the Middle East, and she was referring specifically to Israeli-Palestinian relations, until we come to an understanding of the role that land plays within their sacred framework. It is indeed consecrated. There is no solution, she now argues, unless you come to terms with the place of land within these religious cosmologies.
I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't even thinking of it, but you're absolutely right. You're just absolutely right. The Palestinians, oh my God, this is our land. What are you doing here? And they still say that to this day. How old is Israel now? 50? Israel?
No, it's over 60 now.
60 now?
61,
and they're still saying that to the Israelites.
Yeah.
They're still saying, you don't come here. Blah, 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 blah.
And of course, for the Jewish people, this land is, God gave this land to me.
Yeah,
it is consecrated again.
Read your Bible. You know, that's what they're saying. Read your Bible. You know.
So let's go now to Act 1, Scene 3.
I'm so, how much do I owe you now? You've been waiting on me with these glasses.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
We're going to ask you to be Clarice this time.
Page what?
Page 26 in the new one.
I'm used to this.
And we're going to ask Aretha to be Groovy.
I'm groovy, okay.
You're groovy. And
That's a bad thing. You're the loose woman. That's a bad thing. Anyway, go ahead.
and I'll be Willem.
Okay, so I'm going to be Clarice. Clarice is not that, well, yes, she is.
So I'll be Willem. Willem notices someone or something crawling. It's Groovy, crawling towards the house.
Oh, I don't like to see.
He drops his bucket and runs directly to her. Groovy, oh my God, Groovy! She slumps into his arms.
Please, no more. No, don't hit me. No more.
What happened?
I was...
Lacey!
No,
Lacey!
that's me.
Oh.
I'm Willem.
Sorry.
Calling. Lacey! Lacey! Here, let's get to the porch. He guides her to the porch where they sit down. Groovy stands and starts swinging wildly, attacking him. It's me, Willem. Calm down now. Sit. Groovy
What?
does, and openly weeps as Clarice enters the porch.
What is going on? Oh my God, Groovy! Groovy, what happened? She glances at Willem. She's cut. Get some water. Clarice starts wiping Groovy's face with the end of her apron. Boiling on the stove, hurry. William hurries off. And the cloth.
My shopping bags.
Shopping bags.
They in the road.
Willem will get the bags. What happened, girl? What's happened to you?
Walking.
Walking. Walking where?
They come.
Who come? The water, Willem, hurry up. Oh my God, that's a misprint back here. Anyway, my God, girl, you are a mess. Just let me wipe your face now, Groovy. Blood all over the place here.
They slap, they hit Groovy.
What you supposed to have? What you I'm sorry. Willem enters with okay, Willem comes on, and Clarice says to him, what is supposed to happen to her?
You gotta ask, Lacey.
Broom the coon, right?
They broom and they kick and they spit.
Now take it easy, child.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Look at her. I mean, we know what she do. They know what she do.
Well, I heard of broom the coon before, but usually ain't no women be involved.
Oh, yes. Maybe not in Africville, but they are.
She says something about shopping bags in the road.
I'll get them. Good. So stop that. So let's move to how we experienced Act 1, Scene 3. In Act 1, Scene 3, the abuse of the fragile black by insensitive, brutal whites. Groovy, who believes in a white knight coming to save her. Willem, witnessing the beating Groovy took at the hands of some white man, talking of being sick and tired of the position he and his community are in, of suffering because of what the whites do. Clarice tending to the bloody Groovy, and seemingly angry at Willem for choosing to try to talk sense to Groovy at what is really a poor choice of time. The community of Africville, soon to be no more, for the moment, have more than their share of hardships. That's an understatement. The tensions seething through this play are heating up to the point where I am unhappily anticipating things going from bad to worse and worse again, on the lip of a destructive destiny. Some of the fictional characters are coming into introductory focus. How hard it is to think that this fictional account is rooted in an actual event.
God, that's so true. Who wrote that? Give him another A. No, but that Broom the Coon was very popular in Nova Scotia. That's what they did in Africville. All the white boys used to drive down there in their car, and they jump out their car, and then they hit you with their broom and their bat and all this stuff, and then they get in their car, and everybody called it Broom the Coon. It's so true. God, that person's perceptive. I said A. But I mean, no, that's very true. It's just based on. See, I put all this factual information in Consecrated Ground. I used fact, but I changed names and places, and, you know. But it's all based on, like, you guys are reading like Broom the Coon. That thing, it's true. That's what they did in Halifax, Nova Scotia, when I was a kid. And you never got caught on the street when you were a kid because some white boys were going to drive down there and broom you.
I tell you, something that really, really shocked me was reading that this was in 1965, the first time, because you know I was already alive. I was far away from here, but.
You said 1909.
Well,
Right?
I never experienced or knew. We were not really taught that history when I was in school or anything, so I never knew that late in, 1965. That's late.
Recent.
It's very recent.
Yeah,
it's very recent.
Me
and
too.
You were
that was a
living
shock to
in
me.
good neighborhood, yeah. So
No, not at that age. I was in the East End of Vancouver, which, I lived with my mother and sister and brother. There were 3 of us, but we lived in a small apartment. The thing is, though, it wasn't anything like this. I mean,
Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
I've said this in interviews.